Hello everyone, it's DuckFairy07. Today we are playing Giant Death Shadow, one of my all-time favorite decks. In its time it was one of the best decks in Modern, and lately it got a lot of new interesting inclusions. So Orcish Bowmasters, Questing Druid, now Stalactite Stalker and a lot of other cards. To use Stalker in a build like this, you really have to support it well. Cards that support it well are cards like Mishra Bauble, Dragon Ray Channeler. These two are extremely good with it. Also the street raid. So I had a build of this, I had this same exact build with 4 street raids instead of breaches, Temur Battle Rage and Bitter Triumph, and of course no Giganta on the side, and I kind of liked both of them. Of course the version with street raid sometimes was able to go more aggressive, just playing Death Shadows even on turn 2. But of course having Breach, a Bitter Triumph in deck and Giganta in the side can be very relevant too, so I can't really tell you which one I prefer. I kind of prefer the version with street raids actually, but maybe overall Giganta is much better, especially for the scam matchup. A Giganta can be like extremely relevant card. So that is that, and yeah, okay. Let's go check out the gameplay. Okay, I'm playing second. Standard, or I would say like a standard typical hand for this deck. Unfortunately no discard, but I'm hoping to kill a creature with a heat and then going for turn 2 Goyf. My opponent is playing Scam, so Goyfs are usually pretty good in this matchup. I don't have this card, but my opponent has, so they make sure my Goyfs are pumped. So I untap, play one of my Goyfs and pass the turn. Also, the thing with Breach and Giganta in this build is like both of these cards are just very efficient in this matchup. So I got Giganta. Giganta just, especially in this deck, can really often win games, and Breach is like a really good card against them too. So that is the reason why I opted for this build without street raids, although maybe I prefer that. Okay, opponent going for Fury here, but probably forgot that they're putting instant into the graveyard, so they don't get to kill my other Goyf. And Goyf is so good with it, they have to often use Scam Fury just to kill one Goyf, and then you play another one, it trades with Fury. This is like very good. And yeah, I decided to risk a bit here, play the 1/1 Shadow. Of course that can be pretty bad against their Bowmasters. They didn't have a lot of cards in hand, and so it didn't matter. Opponent has Thoughtseize plus Grieve here, getting rid of my second Shadow. The Stalactite Stalker is pretty sweet card. It is a creature that gets bigger and bigger over time, and you can sack it for 3 mana and kill a creature. This ability has really been a lot more relevant than it may seem at first, but it has been like really good ability. Okay, so I got the fetch here, so I'm able to make a Shadow of 4/4. This means it trades with both Greaves if they are going to block, and if they do that, I have Stalker. I have Stalker to kill one of the Greaves, so they don't really have a good block there. This time they go for a double block. I deal 3 with a Stalker and play my second Shadow. Also end of turn put a Stalker on top. Opponent plays Takenuma, gets back the Fury. They don't even have mana to play it, and it's still a bad situation for them even if they can. And that is it. Okay, so let's check out the game 2. Okay, my sideboarding plan for this matchup, I decide to bring in the Bowmasters. It is definitely debatable, but I think Bowmasters is yeah, it's good at killing their Bowmasters and the Ragavan in situations like this. Okay, so I went for the Stalker here first to block the Ragavan, but they have removal, so they connect. I don't have a removal for the Ragavan at the moment, only Bitter Triumph. Bitter Triumph is fine. I have a Death Shadow in hand, so I lose 3 life to kill Ragavan. This means next turn I can go for the Shadow. I also always want to trim on Totsis a bit when playing this matchup, especially on the draw. I wanted a land here, didn't get it, so I just played my Goyf, tried to raise my opponent, and hopefully they attack. Definitely what else they're going to do, so I can play the big Death Shadow and just hope to win game on the next turn. I try to attack with Tarmogoyf. Opponent has Bowmaster to jump it. And now I play the Channeler and the Death Shadow, but still don't have quite lethal here. And opponent has Fury, kill my creature, and deal clear my blocker, so I can't. They have lethal on the same turn. I can't prevent that. So that was the game. Let's check out the game 3. Okay, so Goyf and Bauble here, and Questing Druid, not a brutal hand, but a keepable one. I can go like Pseudo Scry with Bauble here. Finding Heat on top, that is a good card I really want now, so I keep that on top. This means if they go for Grief Scam, I can probably quickly kill Grief. They didn't do it, so I can just find a basic, play my Tarmogoyf 2-3 right now. But if they play anything, it can quickly grow. And now heating the Ragavan, making my Goyf 4-5, playing another one. And this is now a problem for my opponent. Scammed Grief doesn't even kill both of these, and they played the explosives, so I just attack with both, and obviously they are going to have to use explosives next turn. So I attack first, make them use it, and then I can play Questing Druid plus Dragon Ray Channeler, start pumping the Druids, get them out of the Bowmaster's range. So they kill it in response, but I got the Channeler on the field. They're already on 4 life here. And I still have the Questing Druid to get 2 more cards. Getting the Heat and the Bowmaster. Heat not very useful. But now it is the Breach time, and Breach is like very good against them. I was able to get a couple of these Bauble abilities, getting back the Channeler too, getting back the Bowmasters. So I actually didn't play the Bauble last time. This way I was able to make my Channeler remain a 3-3. So the graveyard got exiled, so my Goyfs were small, but I was able to play it as a 1-2. But I have Unholy Heat and a Questing Druid, which means I can probably easily make them a lot bigger. Opponent goes for Grief. Now in response I can play both of my spells, make them discard Bitter Triumph. Exile 2 cards, Bolt and Land. This is actually decent. Opponent attacks for 4. I have to let this through, but now I have a Questing Druid, I have second Questing Druid, fetch, bolt, kill the Hidetsugu, make my Goyf bigger than their or Karmi token, and now I'm attacking for lethal with Goyf, so opponent has to jump. We are both in a top deck mode, low on cards. I go for Totsis just to make my Questing Druids bigger, make them a 4-4. This means each attacker is lethal and they can't block all three, so that is a lethal damage on attack and win in this match 1. So let's check out the match 2. Okay, so pretty good start. Dragon Rage Channeler turn 1 with a double bubble. Potentially getting Delirium on turn 1. This can be very good, but I got the Unholy Heat, so I decided to go for the Ragavan. Opponent was playing Jund, so they go for turn 2 Goyf. Definitely I'm going to help my opponent grow their Goyf because of the channeler, but that is alright, so I want them to attack me actually. This way I can play my shadows. Shadows are going to be much bigger than their Goyf. And I had Delirium, so I was able to kill a Goyf and play my shadow as a 2-2. I let the shadow through and it makes my shadow a 4-4. Now I have a lot of options. Make my shadows a 7-7, play both a Stalker and the Ragavan. So a lot of creatures on the field right now. Opponent has just one card in hand and they are way behind. So both of my shadows are lethal and there's just nothing opponent can do here. I go for Totsis to make them even bigger. And yeah, this way I connect with Ragavan. I go for 4, so even if they I get the treasure token, so I have mana to use the Stalker next turn if needed, and that is the game. Okay, so let's check out the game 2. Okay, so playing second, let's see the sideboarding plan for this one. I expected a lot of graveyard hate. When I expect a lot of graveyard hate like this, I trim 2 channelers. Also playing second means my channelers and Ragavans are not that great because of their Orcish Bowmasters. Always trim 2 Ragavans against the Bowmasters. Didn't include the Bowmasters against their Bowmasters because I think it's just better to have stuff like Tarmogoyf here and removal. I don't really care that much about their Bowmasters in a build in this build. Okay, so I went for the Goyf here. The Vren and Fable was a bigger problem for me here. So I got I needed what I needed to win this match was get a third land here, so I can double spell for 2 turns. I would be able to play much more efficiently here. In the meantime, opponent was able to grow their Vren 6. I got the Molten Collapse, killing Molten Collapse, really doing like incredible job there. And suddenly I was way ahead, but my opponent finds explosives to kill both of my Goyfs, and then that put them back into their game. I find a removal for Fable and had Questing Druids still, so pretty even game. Both players, let's say in a top deck mode, opponent here attacking for 4, putting me on 5. This means I have to find a good stuff with the Druid. I go for the Druid. Goyf, and yeah, Goyf is decent. So I decided against playing the Questing Druid. This would mean I have to shock for a lot of damage, and yeah, opponent has double removal there and lethal for the next turn. That was the game. Okay, so we have to settle this in game 3. In game 3, playing first, so much easier job for me. Also, like Giganta and the stuff without a Street Rate. Street Rate is just not good in these Bowmasters matchups. So, having Underworld Breach and Giganta is really a game changer for this matchup. I was able to go DRC, Bauble, Totsis, get Delirium, see their hand, which was Inquisition and Vren 6 and Saga Bowmaster. I already had Delirium, so I didn't really care about the Bowmasters. I was attacking with the Channeler and had the Alpine Moon to get rid of the Urza Saga. Urza Saga was here basically the only card which was good for them in their hand. So killing a Saga here was definitely the most important thing. I had the third land, but I needed a second red. Didn't have a second red right now. Opponent goes for Vren. Vren not getting the Saga means it's not really that relevant. Yeah, okay, so opponent has another Bowmaster, but as I said, Bowmaster is just not that good here. I find Goyf and Breach, so I don't have a fourth land right now, so I have to choose between those two cards. Obviously, with the two Bowmasters on the field, Breach is not what I need, so I just go for Goyf here as a good blocker and attacker, also using mana nicely. I was able to go for the Goyf, then Unholy Heat end of their turn, then Molten Collapse on my turn. Yeah. Still, so now I can attack for both. They have to block the Goyf because it is lethal damage. I play the Questing Druid, play another Channeler, so I have more blockers and more attackers for next turn. Opponent can't deal with all these creatures, and that is the game and the match. Okay, so let's check out match 3. Pretty sweet games with this Jund list. I really love it against Scam. I love it against other mid-range decks like the Saga matchups. Okay, so having Breach is like really great advantage for the matchups like this. I try to go for the Totsis, but opponent uses the Force of Negation actually and suspends the Rhinos on turn 1. So this is not easy matchup for me. In game 1 I don't have much interaction with the Rhinos. I only have Totsis in, so counting on that. But Tarmogoyfs are pretty good in this matchup, and I can go Questing Druid, try to pump the Questing Druid to become relevant here, bigger than the Rhinos. Also going for the Channelers, try to race with Channelers while holding big creatures that can't fly on the floor, blocking the Rhino. So that is the game plan. So I go for the second Channeler here, go for the Bauble, doing the surveilling, trying to make my Channelers 3-3. Then I decide to go make my Questing Druid as big as possible immediately and do a lot of Bauble abilities, drawing a bunch of cards, but still remaining delirious for the Channelers. So yeah, I can draw a lot of cards here and make my Channeler a little bit bigger. I can also dig with the Bauble to maybe try to find something relevant to play here. I did find another Channeler. That is definitely a good find here. I decide to get rid of the Delirium and play my third Channeler, risking them having Fury, but most lists don't play Fury, so I'm pretty safe from that. And with the 3 Channelers and a lot of cards in hand, my opponent concedes. That is the game 1, and let's check out the game 2. Okay, so what I need is obviously Cascade Hate and Explosives. Don't need anything else from my sideboard. Just trimmed a couple of bolts. Bolts are pretty bad against Rhinos, but still usable against Tidebinder, Subtlety, Brazen Borrower, stuff like that. Okay, so again, I start with a Channeler. My definite game plan here is try to raise them with a Channeler, also try finding removals with the Questing Druid and other usable hate. I find a Stalker. I have to use Mishra bubbles and the Channeler wisely. When you have Stalker in hand, you can easily trigger Stalker each turn after turn in this build, because yeah, I decide to go for the Ragavan dash here, deal 2 damage, try to exile something relevant, then play the Stalker, make it a 2-2, and continue attacking. So again, I skipped my attacks phase here because I was expecting them to go for the Rhinos. Not a great position, but I have Questing Druid to dig for explosives. That is the game plan. So I go for it. Also, if I forgot to say, Death Shadows are so good against Rhinos. I decide to double block. Opponent has removal. That is fair. Okay, so I was able to play the Questing Druid and play double Shadow. My shadows are 9/9 here, which is incredible. They're like super blocking the Rhinos, and I got the explosives from top, but opponent has a Force of Negation. I have Breach in my hand, so I didn't really care about that. Post board, I can resolve the Breach, make my Questing Druid big, and I could have gone, maybe should have gone for this before combat. Did I have lethal? I'm not sure why I didn't go for it. Maybe I misclicked. I played this games really long ago. Like it's certainly like it was like 2 weeks ago, I think. So I don't remember why I didn't do this pre-combat, but it was over anyway. And yeah, that is the match. Okay, so this was actually 19th of November, so it was long ago. Okay, so this was match 3, and these were all the wins from this league. So let's now check the defeats and how that went. Okay, mulliganed this one, then keeping a decent 6. Playing against Merfolks on the draw. I remember this game being really close. So went for the started game with a Channeler. Opponent has Spreading Seas. Didn't really expect Spreading Seas. Expected Tide Shapers, but not really Spreading Seas. So I decided to go for the Goyf and then try to do the bolt on the upkeep and have 2 big attackers for the next turn. Didn't get the Delirium, but I was able to play Death Shadow as a 6/6. So that was a lot of damage right now on the field. Opponent has the Goyf, and I'm able to go for the Breach and replay the Bolt. Bunch of lands in the graveyard, so don't really do a lot for me here. I played another fetch, put myself down to 4, and play another Bolt to kill the Tide Shaper, go in for a lot of damage, leaving my opponent on 3 life. So right now I need Delirium for lethal, and I got the fetch from the top, so that is the game. Let's check out the game 2 against Merfolks. So game 1 was pretty easy, and Death Shadows are definitely a great card in the matchup. Okay, but here I had to mulligan again on 6. And keeping again decent 6 cards. Yeah. Starting off with Ragavan. Opponent catch me with Chalice of the Void. I think, let's see my sideboarding plan. I think I had Molten Collapsing. Molten Collapsing gets rid of the Chalice. but I'm not sure if I had other Chalice Heat. I was not prepared for the Chalice in this build. I have the Molten Collapse is just very good against it, but I think I only had 2 cards dealing with it. I think it was 1 Tear Asunder, 1 Molten Collapse, something like that. And they got the Svilun on the field with the Chalice, and Tarmogoyfs were not enough to win this, so that was the game, and a quick loss to Chalice. So let's check out the game 3. Again had to mulligan, and I decided to keep this very mediocre 6, a 1-lander, Dragon Ray Channeler, so I'm hoping basically for them to play a creature on 1. I can go removal in the upkeep, try to find that second land. I graveyard the breach and not find the land, unfortunately, and this was already a pretty bad start for me. Opponent then has the Harbinger to bounce my Channeler, which is even worse, and yeah, so I played for another turn. I can go upkeep Heat, finally finding that land, so I can now play the Stalker. And next turn I can start playing the game, go either for Goyf or the Questing Druid. It's still not too late, but opponent finds Lord of Atlantis, giving their creatures Island Walk. I don't have Island yet, but if they top deck and Spreading Seas or the creature that makes my land island, this can quickly turn into lethal. Then I played my Goyf, grow my Stalker, hold the Questing Druid, and opponent can just make their Mutavault a creature, and I can block all of them, so that is the lethal, and that is the match against Merfolks. Kind of screwed for a turn, didn't get cards I needed on time, and then after that it was too late, and that was it. Let's check out the last game of this league. Okay, playing first, mulliganing to 6 again, keeping a decent 6, but unfortunately a 1-lander. So again, problems with lands, not getting a land here, pretty bad. Opponent going for removing my channeler. So I went for Totsis, discarding the Shardless Agent, but they had the Beanstalk, and I was stuck on lands, and didn't. If I got the Channelers, the Tarmogoyfs on board on time, my opponent's hand was like okay, mediocre. I would be able to discard the Verdict, and they would depend on the single removals. I would have a lot better chances. This way, not being able to play the Tarmogoyf, Questing Druid or whatever, they played Nahiri, and yeah, this game was over. Okay, so let's check out the game 2. Okay, in game 2, kept a mediocre hand, at least this time I had lands, so went for Channeler on turn 1, Bauble, tried to find Delirium as soon as possible. I put Tear Asunder in graveyard. This means I can go for Delirium on turn 2 if I want, but I find Goyf, so I decided to go for the Goyf first, then turn on Delirium next turn. Goyf is 3/4, so they can't Fury both of my threats. But my hand definitely not good with 3 more lands in it, and at least I have the Giganta for additional threat. But yeah, again, not very good draws, not draws I needed. Another land from top is definitely another bad one for me. I play the Totsis, discard one of the ley lines. Opponent has another one, and at this point they only have a Shardless Agent, land, couple of lands, and a mystery card. So I'm still in the game, still have chances. Just need some draws, but opponent finding endurance was like really good here, exactly what they wanted, what they needed. And I got my Stalactite Stalker on field. Yeah, but opponent also getting the Omnat, then Flooded Strand into possibly another Shardless Agent, getting them Beanstalk, or even worse for me. And that was it. So yeah, I couldn't get out of this one. So two very mediocre bad hands, and not getting lands on time was crucial. And that was it. The losses were mainly because of the screws and bad hands keeping or mediocre draws. And otherwise, the matchups I lost like are decent, not hard, not easy, but not definitely winnable. Underworld Breach is a huge advantage in that 4-color Omnat matchups. Going for Breach plus Bolt is a very serious and win condition. Okay, so this is it. I think this John Death Shadow build is pretty competitive right now. I think you can play this, have fun with it if you like this type of builds, and still be sure that you're playing a deck that is really competitive and can really do good. I didn't cast a Temur Battle Rage a single time in a couple of leagues I played, but yeah, I think in theory card is good. Kind of hard to play it with all the 0 mana interaction in the format, but one-off can't hurt that much. Of course, there are other inclusions that could be good here, like another land. I had a lot of land problems. Third Breach also, probably a pretty good inclusion. If nothing else, another discard spell or another removal, and that is it. So hope you like the video, hope you like the gameplay. Friendly reminder to click like, click subscribe, comment in the video. Do you like more this version with the Breach, Bitter Triumph and Temur Battle Rage, or the version with Street Raids? I personally prefer Street Raids a bit for the gameplay experience, but I think Giganta and Breach is just a lot better inclusion to fight the scam matchup, and yeah, a lot of grindy matchups. So definitely both have their advantages, and the version with Street Raids tries to go as quickly as possible, try to finish game in the early turns. And this version can grind. Breach can easily win long games against a lot of grindy decks. Okay, so that is it. Of course, Bowmasters on the sideboard, I didn't comment that. I really don't like them in this deck in the main. I really want the relevant threats like a Goyf, a Channeler, even a Stalactite Stalker can get really quickly out of hand, Shadow. And Bowmaster's body is not that relevant, so I really want it only against these Beanstalk decks. Unfortunately, I boarded them in, but didn't get it in the matchup. My hand was pretty bad, and that was it. But yeah, they serve a purpose, just helping you win against the Beans decks. And that's it for today. Again, thank you for watching, and goodbye.